Grip.
And we are back with the Underdog Jets podcast. Well, let's call it a therapy session this time with Wayne Chrebet, the Mr. Garfield. Are you the mayor? Are you the mayor, Garfield, Wayne? Which one is it?
I'm not the mayor.
You're not. You're not the mayor. I thought you got into politics.
No. This is gonna be very political though. But yeah, it's a weird day to be talking. Obviously, I didn't have a game on Monday, but
Yep.
big one coming up. Definitely one we need to get, if not for the playoffs. Obviously, it's a very, very long shot, but just to give you something to cheer about and get something positive to look forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah, let's get this out of the way. We're gonna hit some news, Rodgers stuff that happened today, but let's get this out of the way first. The NFL tanking. This is the time of year when fans want to see the team tank and get a better draft pick. And my feeling and a lot of feelings around there around the league is that does it really matter what draft pick you have? The leadership, who's making that pick, who's running the organization. I think to me that matters most. And as a professional, you never want to go into a game thinking that way.
Listen, this is one of my biggest pet peeves and critique. When people come up to me and say, "Are they losing on purpose? Are they going to lose on purpose to get a higher draft pick? Are they going to tank?" That pisses me off more than anything because I was a part of teams that were essentially out of playoff contention by November, December, like we are right now. No, there's no tanking. If you go out there and lay an egg and don't try hard, people are going to know it. Unless you have a long-term contract, you would essentially be playing to get the number one, number two pick on a team that you will no longer be a part of because you didn't follow through in the season. You didn't do your part. So no. Is there tanking? I don't know. But I was never on a team that did that, and I was on some crappy teams. So no, I hate when people say, "Are they going to, tank on purpose?" Because that's not it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and not just staying with the organization you're with. I mean, that film goes on tape for every single one of the teams around the league.
Right.
And if you don't think they're paying attention to that, you're silly. They are. The reason why the NFL is so successful, less is more, quality, they leave fans wanting more, is the same reason why every minute and every game and every snap is so precious.
Yeah, listen, like I said, I was in a different situation. I started on statistically record-wise, two of the worst teams in Jets history, 95, 3-13, 96, 1-15. Terrible. We'll get into the comparison. But where we're at right now, what are we, 3-8?
Yeah.
Certainly one of the most, if not most, underachieving team in Jets history. And you can ask any coach or player or anybody, who pays attention to the Jets or plays that this is not even close to where we thought we'd be going into the season in August.
Yeah. So a little news on the news front. Rodgers spoke today. He told everyone that the report in The Athletic or various reports that he wants to eye playing in 2025, just not with the Jets, is not true. Take it for what you will. He was on McAfee as well. So he didn't come out and say that. He basically came out and said he doesn't know what his future is. He'd like to play. He has enjoyed his time with the Jets. So take that for what it's worth.
Dude, he enjoyed nothing, man. He enjoys his $100 million. Listen, he's great. He was great. I don't know if he is anymore, but he was great for a very, very long time, 20 years, 4 MVPs, the Super Bowl. Understand, this is what I don't like to hear. The whole last year he got hurt and I felt terrible. Everybody felt terrible. And, we tried with a quarterback that nobody wanted, Zach Wilson. And if you look at the record last year to this year and statistics, Zach Wilson's blowing away what Aaron Rodgers has done. And but listen, he didn't want distractions and he just keeps doing podcasts and going to Egypt and these different things. Obviously, like I said, he's one of the best to ever do it. But personally, that one game when he threw Mike Williams under the bus, with the route he ran, and I said, leaders,
you referenced it here. Yep.
Yeah, leaders take the blame and give credit to everybody else, and he does not do that. And Mike Williams goes and catches the winning touchdown next week for the Steelers. I'm happy about that. But he is not a leader. He's one of many popular names on the back of jerseys that they're on that team. They're not a complete team. Some guys are playing their asses off. We'll get into that, but he's not the guy to lead his team. He said he didn't want to be. He wants to play, but he doesn't want to play here next year. And now he's going to go back. No, initially what he said is true. He does not want to be there. He brought everybody there. He brought his coaches there.
Mm-hmm.
And look what we did. We mortgaged his franchise for him. And how many years is it going to set us back, especially if he leaves? Where are we?
That's the question.
That's a rant. That's my biggest rant.
Listen,
years doing this.
I can't disagree with anything you're saying. And I'll say this to play devil's advocate. I do believe he's injured. Like he's not driving at all. He's not using his legs. But
Well, come on,
that's
man.
listen. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. That's part of being his age. That's part of the package.
There's no nothing. There's no doctor or franchise or physical or trainer or assistant trainer or anybody there that knows anything about medicine or injuries is going to say, you know what, we're not going to do scans. We don't want to know what's wrong with our $100 million investment. But you keep telling people all these excuses. Listen, if you're a doctor of this team's worth what, $5 billion, you're not going to protect your biggest asset by not at least doing an X-ray or a scan. Come on, man.
What Wayne is referring to is the report that he was refusing medical scans.
Dude, it's not happening. If I would have done that, I'd still be playing. You know what I mean? You can't do that. If you're walking with a limp or you're taking pills or you need to get therapy, if he's not getting physical therapy, stim, massage, anything, then he's not being a responsible person. He's getting that stuff, which means something's wrong, or he's not getting it, which means he's lying. Either one is bad.
Yeah, I think the best point you're making is that the fact that anything of that ilk could come out in a report is troublesome.
Dude, it's excuses.
Yeah.
I love so many players in that team that are playing hard. Something about him just irks me. You know, in the beginning was like, you know, wasn't always my kind of guy. He was a different kind of guy coming in, excited. Like I said, I saw him throw last year in training camp, and then this year, the way he throws the ball and the reads and all that stuff and the smirk he makes, I love it. It's confidence. But right now, it's all excuses. It's not on him. And any excuse you could have, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, then get off the field. Let Tyrod Taylor play. We had the best backup in the league. He should give us a chance to win if he wasn't right the last couple of weeks. Maybe I admire it if he's playing hurt, but don't get on the field if you're not capable. We got a capable backup. We got two young kids. I don't know if Travis is ready, Martinez, whatever it is. He's not giving us the best chance, and he's being selfish if he's hurt and going on the field.
And you know what I think his biggest miscalculation was? The arrogance, what you saw in the summer. Yeah, he could still throw the ball. No schemes, no reality of getting hit. It's a lot easier in the summer. But I think his biggest miscalculation was coming into a situation where he thought he could overcome everything. Hackett, number one.
Overcome what? That's the guy who brought in. Why would you have to overcome the guy you hired?
But do you see what I'm saying? No. Do you see what I'm saying? No, he is him bringing in that and bringing in things where he thinks his greatness could overcome any kind of shortcomings Hackett may have.
There's no overcome. You brought in a terrible play caller. You brought in terrible play callers. You brought in other people that haven't worked out.
That's his miscalculation. Yeah, he messed up.
Yeah, dude,
he messed up. Whether it's Hackett, whether it's Saleh.
Miscalculation. This is a guy who's with for years. You're saying he was wrong? It's not like he brought some guy off the street that's never coached before. He brought his guy in. He brought his A guy. This is the guy, my MVP guy. These are the receivers that brought me an MVP. It's all about MVP, not Super Bowls. But the guys he brought in are so talented. But once he went out or different play calling, everything changed. I love,
By the way,
Monty Adams. He was the best ever. Well, top three. As far as route running, he's ridiculous. Garrett's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Lazard's obviously playing better because he's got, young guys. It's just he can't blame anybody. They mortgaged the franchise for him. He got his guys. He got his coaches. He got whatever else. He can't complain about anything, any other quarterback in the league, because they don't always, it could be a forced marriage with who their coach is and this and that. I had many offense coordinators, many receiver coaches, and I never got to choose any of them.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, lockstep. I think it was his arrogance that messed up, like thinking he could thrive in any situation, even if he was bringing in his guys, which you can't do. And I go back to LaFleur. Wayne, do you remember when they were 5-2 in 2022? They just beat Green Bay and Rodgers, and they were wearing the cheese heads, and they were 4-2. Then they go to Denver, they're 5-2, and the future's ahead of them. They have all these young guys. They just beat Rodgers. LaFleur doing some good things, and I was not happy with the LaFleur firing at the time because I felt like he was thrown under the bus. But can you imagine where we are now after that point, being 5-2 in 2022?
Ridiculous. I want to get to the comments because I want to make people come and support us, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Let me just go down it. I don't know how far it goes back to the beginning. Saying the truth. Rick Rollo, man, what a horrible season. Yes, it is a disaster. Like I said, anything I'm saying is not new news to anybody in the organization or fans or media. We're obviously there. I'm not like saying anything that's like off the cuff or like, Dale Jett said, evening, everybody. X marks the spot. Michael People Jr., Woody needs to sell a team. Any comment that he makes, any post, anything Jets, that is anything that mentions the team, it's always Woody needs to sell the team.
Yes.
Listen,
without fail.
We can go over Woody's decisions, management's decisions with obviously Saleh and Joe Douglas. But listen, you can't completely blame him. He's giving those guys a blank check, open checkbook to do what they want. Now we're finding out he got a little more involved with personnel decisions.
Yep.
Whether that's true or not, we can get into that. But no, it's hasn't worked out in 25 years. I understand that. You would expect more. You would expect playoffs in the last 15 years. So obviously, he's part of the reason. But demanding him to sell a team, I don't think that's right.
I think it doesn't solve any problems.
No, and not obviously people getting invoices for season tickets, listening to that 100%, and people saying I've been a fan for decades and I'm not renewing them. 100% behind them.
Yeah,
people spend good money to see a good product, and it hasn't been good enough in the last 15 years. We'll just go there. We won't go back to me. It's not good enough because we haven't made the playoffs. Obviously, we haven't made we haven't gotten any better over the years. 15 years. Yeah. Second worst is 10 years, Atlanta.
Yes.
It's terrible. Go ahead, say what you're saying while I'm looking through this.
Okay, so Woody, listen, even Woody, he's cool with criticism. And, JetX has criticized Woody. No problem. If those reports are true that he got really involved over the last 9 months since the springtime, yeah, no one likes that. It's not great. No. It's not good. But to be fair, like Wayne said with the blank check, he did allow Douglas and Saleh. He was not in their way whatsoever up until last spring.
Yeah.
So I'll be fair in that regard. He gave them plenty of time. And with Douglas, there couldn't have been a bigger Douglas fan than me. In my mind, Douglas with personnel, what he did to turn over this personnel is a tremendous job. I just think he failed in the other areas. And I think most importantly, he failed with the leadership vision, maybe some of the other GM responsibilities and the coaching. I just think this team has been poorly coached for way too long.
Yeah. And some guys are still there, shouldn't be, and some guys have just been dismissed that shouldn't have been dismissed. But look at the signings in the last 2 years. Obviously, when we got Rodgers, everybody was thankful and praising management and Woody, and we went out.
He did everything they wanted.
Guys, it's you can't pick. Everybody's excited about some of these picks. Some of them we questioned because they didn't work out, but he's going after guys. Daniel Jets, we deserve some wins because they equate to less depression both inside the building and outside. Listen, so you understand. You see how dark it is outside? Mm-hmm. I understand it's 7 o'clock, but when it's daylight savings and you are 3-8, you are 2-9, 1, whatever I was, and then maybe you're 3-9. You know what? You're out there. It's outside. We were outside. It's dark out. You're miserable. It's terrible. Believe me, you're going out there trying to hold on to anything to be happy about.
Mhm.
Just coming together as a team, as a family, just trying to do something. And this is miserable. You think it's miserable for the fans, and obviously they pay their hard-earned money and stuff. But as a player, when you are eliminated from playing for a championship, and it's this dark already, and it's November, that is a bad feeling, dude. This
Yeah,
is
you
terrible. As a
feel like a
fan, as a
vampire.
player, yeah,
Yeah. You go to work in the morning. I remember my old coworkers. I feel like a vampire in the winter. In an office job. You go in, it's dark out. You leave at 5 o'clock. It's dark out. It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. So here you go, another one. I could see shutting down guys in late December, but tanking has been discussed all week. It's always going to be discussed, and I don't blame anything that happens. Listen, this is what's going to happen. People are going to say they're tanking. That's their right, but then they're going to say we're dumb enough to win like the last game or two and not get a Trevor Lawrence or a high pick. So pick. Do you want him to lose every game, or do you want him to not win one or two to take some of the depression away? What do you want?
Yeah. It
Do you
doesn't
want to
matter.
lose every game going for the first pick, or do you want to be competitive and win a couple and you're top 10? You gotta pick. You
Yeah.
can't change your mind.
And Lawrence, he was this generational guy. My goodness, that was the first year for Jet X in 2020, and what we had to deal with, it was just a coincidence with the tanking. Is Lawrence the generational guy we all missed out on? From my eyes, from my vantage point, hell no. Maybe it's coaching. Maybe if he gets the right coach and the right leader, maybe he turns out to be that. But to me, the new coaches, maybe we'll talk about that a little bit too after the comments. The new coaches, coaching candidates, that's what it's about. It's about identifying the right people in terms of coach and GM.
Yeah. Here's another one. Yoser 67. I'm going to the Geno Smith revenge game on Sunday. I will drink heavily. Yeah, listen, I announced Geno Smith pick
Yes,
in
you
Radio
did.
City. With the
He
30
was
whatever
there
pick
still
in the
too. He
draft.
was there.
Yeah,
Yep.
Jets select, quarterback West Virginia, Geno Smith, and it was a mixed. Probably the closest I ever got to being booed because it was mixed yays and hays when he got picked. But yeah, you let a guy go and he's making 30 million a year and he's on winning team the last couple of years, leading the team. Yeah, he's coming in. Anytime someone says the Jets are on the calendar, they got rid of you. Is that game important to you? And people always, players, oh no, it's not as important as any of the other games. That's bullshit. Yes, it's important to him. Yes, he is going to command your playing, and his teammates are too. So we're gonna have our hands full. Michael People Jr. Rodgers makes $1 million a week going on McAfee show. I don't know what he gets, but whatever he says to the New York media changes on that show and then changes back. So that's his guy. He completely controls the narrative on that show. Just like I can on this show, only we have, thousands of people watching and they have millions.
Yeah, they're on ESPN.
What can I say about myself or about you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's,
There's no question. Whatever you want to say about Rodgers, he loves tweaking the media and playing games. No one could argue that.
McAfee and Joe Rogan are probably the biggest podcasts that people pay to, sports, UFC, fighting, all that stuff. And McAfee's a character, and he's done so well himself post football, and he's entertaining, and I like to listen to him, and I like his opinions. I like all the stuff he does, and the way he goes about things. So I'm not against him. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's a workaholic too. You could tell.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere, and I'm happy for
him.
To go to not sweeping the Patriots, not beating the Colts is a major problem this season. Yeah, they're all losses a major problem, especially going in. You're like, you look at the schedule, 17 games. You're like going in, August, September. You're like, all right, check. Patriots should be a home win and away win. So yeah, right then and there, that's 2 games you didn't get that you should have got.
Check this one out.
Yeah.
Do not hire Michael Piper. Do not hire Rex Orman Genius. I want Aaron Glenn. Now, here's the other narrative, the storyline. Woody announced today he's hiring the 33rd Team, the media company that Wayne did a podcast for, actually, with Lavernius.
Yeah.
So that means Tannenbaum and Spielman will spearhead the efforts And Tannenbaum is a blast from the past. I mean, very rarely do you see an organization go back to someone they fired in terms of a consultantship. Maybe this turns out to be a home run, but what do you feel about Rex, Wayne, the idea of Rex or Mangini, and beyond them in terms of candidates for coaching? Do you have any in mind?
I don't know either one of them personally. I know Rex has been all fired up all over the place.
He's politicking.
Oh, he's politicking.
He's politicking.
Why would you not want to?
That
Why
has
would
my
you
eyebrows.
yeah.
I love the passion for the Jets, but I raise both eyebrows at the same time. Like, man, he's
Dude,
really going at it.
He really wants to. Of course. Don't say anybody would. All right, listen. This is going to be a project, but don't anybody. Why would he not come back and just full on, full press court to full court press to coach there? Why would you not? Why would you not want to coach in New York and make $10 million a year and do all this? Of course he's going to do that. I didn't play for either one of them. Mangini's a little too quiet for my liking. I like Rex in your face, but another guy, he's like Coach Sal. He wants to be best friends with his players.
Correct.
And, he likes to go out and laugh around, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, to a point. Like, there's got to be a balance. Yeah.
Now, as far as Aaron Glenn, I know him well. I played against him. Great player, great guy. He's a great coach. He has worked his way up from nothing.
He took the long route too. Like
the long route. Yeah. He's a player. He's played in the league. He's been successful in the league. I know his temperament. I think he would be one of the guys getting my vote. I'm biased, but I do know him. I know what he stands for as a man and a player. So yeah, I would rather have someone like Aaron Glenn than one of those two.
Yeah, to me, like I've heard things. It has to be an offensive guy. It has to be in this game. It has to be all things being equal. Okay, I agree. Should be an offensive guy like Ben Johnson from Detroit. Maybe Stefanski if he's fired from Cleveland, but I don't think so. The Baltimore OC. But to me, it's about leadership and accountability. And I think that's the main thing. And I just keep going back to Vrabel and Flores. I doubt Vrabel would even entertain the idea because he's friends with Belichick. But perfect world, I would say Vrabel and Flores because those guys are in your face accountability leaders, so to speak.
Listen, look at Dan Campbell, 10-1.
Yeah,
he went there and
Super Bowl favorites.
It wasn't crazy success right away, but he was winning games. He was in games and winning games. I was surprised that now. Look at him. That guy is great football knowledge, tough guy. His first press conference, you're like, holy shit, this guy
kneecaps.
Yeah. But he's got a great staff around him. That's where Aaron is, right?
Yes, yeah, and Ben Johnson, the OC.
Yeah, great staff he's built around them. They've grown together. You want that, consistency, keeping that around, keeping the owner, GM, coaches, all that. Is Vrabel a guy? If he wasn't an expat, he's the same kind of guy. But we've had guys come from the Pats and other teams that have coached and whatnot. Obviously, Parcells, Belichick. Listen, but a guy like him. An in-your-face kind of guy. Who's the other one you mentioned other than Vrabel?
Flores, the Vikings DC, who was with Miami, had some issues with Tua. But Minnesota's D is great. He blitzes. He's a no-nonsense dude, Flores.
What about, what's the other night? Todd Bowles. The success he's had since he's left.
Bowles is a great coach, man. Always has been. Won 10 games here with the Jets that first year when McCagnon went with his aggressive rebuild. Revis, Cromartie, Fitz took over after Geno got punched. Bowles, the thing you could rely on with Bowles' defense every year, they'll be in the top 3 in run D, and they'll be one of the worst in the league in pass D. He's that old school D mind who always wants to shut down the run. And to a degree, I appreciate that, to be honest.
Johnny Boy a while back said, as a player, what were the attributes you looked for in your head coach and GM? So I had Kotite, I had Parcells, I had Al Groh, and I had Herm Edwards.
Yeah, you missed Pete Carroll by a year.
Yeah, Kotite, obviously, this was my 4-28, my first 2 years. Obviously, the Kotite era didn't work out, and it's look back as the biggest, staff that we've had in Jets history. And it's not only based on the record, it's just the personnel. I was going back and looking at everybody who's on here knows the current Jets players.
Mhm.
This is 95 when I came in. This is the starting lineup. Boomer, Adrian Morrell.
Mhm.
We had Fred Baxter as the,
Tight ends.
Morrell had 800 yards. Um,
Brad Baxter was still fullback?
yeah, Morrell had 800 yards rushing, 400 yards receiving. I had 66 catches, 724. Charles Wilson was the other receiver, Kyle Brady.
Wow, Charles Wilson.
And our lineman was Willie, Roger Duffy, Cal Dixon, Carlton Hasselrig, Big Diesel, and James Brown. Our defense stars were Eric Howard, Tony Casillas, Matt Brock, Marvin Washington, Bobby Houston, Marvin Jones had come in, Mo was there, Aaron Glenn, Otis Smith, and Victor Green and Todd Scott. You know what I mean? We had some solid players, some hard-nosed players on that team. We played hard. We were 3-13. And then we go with the stars were Frank Reich, who I love, is one of my favorite quarterback. He threw probably one of the nicest balls you'll ever catch. It was Morrell still, 1,200 yards he went for.
Yep.
Rich Anderson was awesome, could catch the ball. Me, Keyshawn, Brady. But then our line was Jumbo, Hargott, Roger Duffy, O'Dwyer came in, Dave Williams. And then we brought in Hugh Douglas. 8 sacks his rookie year.
Scored a touchdown too, I think, right?
3 Plumbo recoveries. So, you look at the talent we had. We had some really good players, guys that didn't get recognition because we are on not very good teams. But, Ron Earhart, look at that. Ron Earhart was up.
Yes.
But you just look at it and you look at what's there now. And obviously there's more talent across the board at certain positions. But like I said, it's less of a team. But I can see them getting stronger at this point because everybody's against them. And the only guys that matter or think they could do anything is in that locker room right now. I know some of those guys are going to take the lead. It's got to be young guys. It's got to be vets. It's just a matter if they do it or not.
True. And people forget the 95 and 96 teams, your first 2 years were so different because the Jets spent a lot of money after 95 going into 96.
Yeah.
With Neil O'Donnell and the receivers that came in, drafting Keyshawn, I think getting Hugh too, because Douglas wasn't there in 95. So I know Jets fans are depressed, but your leadership, the only thing that's standing between this talent on this team, the only thing that's standing in the way is leadership in terms of coaching. And I know this isn't the worst Jets team of all time, talking about our title, but it very well could be the most disappointing and just worst season of all time because of the expectations.
Look at this, 95. The preseason odds for us was plus 7,500. Let me see. 98, we were plus 2,500. It's weird that they have that.
96 might have been actually decent, your odds.
All right, here's 98. Ready?
Yeah.
12-4. Points for fifth, 26 game. Points against second out of 30, giving up 16 a game. You know what I mean?
Incredible.
Yeah, we're expected to be 11. We were 12-4. One division. Here, check out this staff. We're talking about staff who stayed together.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Offense coordinator is Charlie Weiss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Goes on to coach. Awesome. Notre Dame. We're all over. Defense coordinator Belichick. Other notable assistants: Mo Carthon, who became a head coach, running backs. Romeo Cornell's defensive line was a great coach. Al Groh as linebackers, coached us and other teams. Todd Haley was just the assistant quality control. He had great years out in Arizona and Pittsburgh. Dan Henning was the quarterback coach, became the OC. Eric Mangini was the quality control, basically getting coffee for Belichick. And Bill Muir was offensive line. He was a great guy, great coach. Player personnel was Dick Haley, head coach, and general manager was Bill Parcells.
Yes. And Bill Parcells from 97 through 2000 was the GM. And what he did lasted a while through the 2000s, in my opinion.
Dude, it's insane. I'm trying to look at it.
And when you look at the 97, I almost like the 97 team more than 98 because it was so unexpected. And when you look at the 97 roster, yeah, it's improved with some Parcells guys, but not by a lot. Martin wasn't there yet. You still had Morrell, and listen, Morrell was a tremendous back. You didn't have Testaverde yet, and you still went 9-7.
Yeah. Yeah, look at it. And we lost the first 2 games at San Fran.
In 98, yeah.
And versus Baltimore.
Yep, 98 guys got off to a slow start, but then tore it up.
Yeah, we won them 2 and lost at the Rams. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ended the season with that. Beat Jacksonville and then lost at
Denver.
But
which
just
is the craziest game still to me, that Denver game.
So you just look at the staff, though.
Insane.
You know what I mean?
Insane.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Look at the staff that we had, and it's not all about the players.
No,
just got to bring in a different cast in there. Ulbrich should be the defense coordinator on a team that was top 5. That's at least still top 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's doing double duty. You can't pay attention to what's going on in the game. You can't be calling timeouts, 3 timeouts in the first quarter. When to go for 2. You line up for 2 and you got to delay a game. You should be prepared. I can't blame the guy. He's a defensive coordinator that's not prepared to be a head coach. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he wasn't prepared, nor should he have to do it this year when hey, I got my defense. We're top 5.
Terrible situation. Yeah, it's a terrible situation.
It's tough.
And Wayne, is there any other sport that could even come close to making coaching matter as much as football? I don't even think it's close. No. Coaching in football means the most, and it's not even close.
Listen, you're interim coaches a lot in not baseball, basketball, but it's usually a bench coach or 10, 15, 20-year bench coach or someone that played, Herb Williams came in, these guys played for that franchise.
Yeah, Herb
can step in because it's not it's different. You can't have someone from such a lower position, coordinator than just a guy who does a lot of, it's so much harder in football to take over as an interim than it is in any other sport.
It really is, because the operation is so massive. And look at the comments. As soon as we started talking about history, everyone's going nuts, by the way.
All right, hold on. I'm going back to that. This is the 98 team. I was just curious.
Okay.
Vinny threw for 3,200, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
And he only played, 13 games, 14 games?
13. Curtis ran for 1,200, 8 touchdowns. Keith Byers, he's solid. I know he had
probably caught a lot of balls, though.
Yeah, he had that 26. He had the fumble in Denver, something he's never done. Just crazy unfortunate, but he had a long career, very successful career. Me, 75 for 1,108. Keyshawn had 83 for 1,110. Kyle at 30. Jumbo, Berger, Mawai, Dwyer Fabini.
Mm-hmm.
And then started Rick Lyle, Ferguson, awesome. Anthony Pleasure, Mo, Pepper Johnson, Brian Cox, one of my favorite ever. Glenn, Otis Smith, Victor Green, Jerome Henderson. That's the squad, man. I know I'm reminiscing.
No, dude, this is what fans love. I'm telling you.
Listen, Marcus Coleman off the bench. James Farrier just came in the league.
That's right. Farrier wasn't even starting or playing on. I mean, he played. He got in there a little bit. But yeah.
Scott Frost, we had just drafted. He
played a lot at safety with injuries, I think.
Dwayne Gordon, John Hall, the toughest kicker ever. Freaking, if he kicked off with no team to run down there, I think he would still make tackles.
Yes, I agree. And look at this, Gerald Sowell. You had Sowell, and could you imagine a football team these days having 2 fullbacks on the team?
Bobby Hamilton won a ring, had great years with New England.
Yep, D lineman.
Terry Jenkins went to be a starter on some of the best teams. Leon Johnson.
Yes.
Ray Lucas was on it.
Van Dyke, what was he, the 4th receiver?
Dave Meggett was there.
Diedrich was number 3.
Van Dyke. Listen, I'm gonna not go back. I'm gonna say this though. I gotta find where you are. I've been looking at all stats.
Yeah.
I always talk about me, Santana, and LC.
Yes.
Who I played the most with, and my guys, obviously. But I've seen some film with me, Key, and Diedrich. He was a hell of a player. We were a hell of a trio.
Yeah.
Not that I've never given enough credit. I don't think I've mentioned it enough. Let me look at we're at 35 minutes. I'm gonna look at a couple comments real quick.
Go for it. Yeah, get your final comments in, folks. Diedrich's career is on the screen right now. 8 years. I don't even remember him with New England and Dallas, to be honest.
Yeah. You know what it is? I was watching when we beat at Buffalo to win the East, and I Gatorated Parcells, which I always talk about because he messes with me. But I got to Gator him in January up in Buffalo, which was nice. But
Yeah.
Diedrich had that 70-yard catch, and Victor had that INT to seal the game. Diedrich had some great plays. What was his yards per catch?
Diedrich's, it has to be pretty high, right?
Yeah. 17, 18.
Yeah. I'm seeing 19.1. Let's see. What year is this? 98. Probably for his career. What is it, 18? Still, that's pretty damn good. And you know what, too? That 98 team didn't really have a pass rusher. Belichick kind of went to a 4-3 and put Brian Cox on the edge in passing situations. It was insane, and it worked.
Yeah. Rollo Christ, it makes me sad for Chrebet to have to see the state of the Jets now. It's tough. I had an argument with my wife last night about something stupid. I got way too angry about going out with people, after something, to a bar and having a drink. I don't drink, and I'm just like, I don't want to go. And then I was just kind of getting weird about it. I'm like, I don't want to go. And today I called, I said, listen, I don't want to go because I don't want to listen to the bullshit. What's wrong with your team? You guys have always sucked. They're going to lose on purpose. Why this? I've wasted my money for 20 years, 30. I don't want to hear it. And a lot of times these people, what they're saying is what they feel, and what they feel is right for the most part. The product hasn't been there. And we always talk about the great years we've had and Midnight Miracle and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to go out because I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? So when someone says, I feel bad that you have to talk about it, it is what it is. All the fans talk about it. This days like this, every day, there's news, and, you can't ignore it. It's on social media every day of the year. And yeah, I don't mind talking about it. I want people to understand what's going on behind the scenes and what was going on when I played, which is the only thing I can give my opinion on.
Yeah, you're human, just like everyone else. I think you're human, right? You're human, and it was just you're so closely tied to the Jets as an identity. So I think everybody could completely understand that, no question about it. So we need an answer before you wrap, which is worse, 2024, 1999. And 1999, of course, was when Vinny blew out his Achilles. It was bitterly disappointing, but I would have to say 2024 because the 99 team showed fight. Wayne was hurt, missed the first 4 or 5 games, right? Hurt your ankle. Was it your ankle that was hurt in 99?
Listen, 99, you can't put that in the conversation. Shit.
Yeah, no, 24.
We come up 98. We losing.
I think
we would have won the Super Bowl.
I think he's going by expectations.
Oh wait, I mean, yeah, expectations. Anybody who goes to the AFC Championship, NFC Championship, or goes to the Super Bowl, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna come back. I don't know what we did or who we drafted, but 99, I went in motion. This is the old Giants statement. I went in motion, snapped the ball. I took one step and broke my foot. I took a step. I was like, my foot exploded, and the DB was hobbling, grabbing me, and he's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I think I just broke my foot." Next day, I got a screw put in. I was out 4 to 6 weeks, and then I'm in the Testaverde box, and he tears his Achilles, and then Tom Cooper's our, emergency quarterback,
throwing touchdowns.
Yeah, we do the best we could. So you can't include 99. We end up almost making the playoffs, but is it the worst season of 50 years of fandom? As far as expectations, you know, it's been bad for a while now. We've had winning seasons, with Sanchez. I know we went to, deep in the playoffs. But
Mhm.
I don't think the expectations were ever like they were last year, and they go in this year. They were just bigger because it was talked about for 18 months.
Yeah, crazy.
So yeah, this is what Greenberg said, a colossal failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-8, and whatever happens from here, yeah, it is bad. And like I said, I've been on 1 and 3 win teams, and it wasn't as bad as this because we were hoping for the playoffs. But this year, people were buying tickets to New Orleans. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I didn't blame them. I'm like, people, LC laughs at me, like, you knew this was. I'm like, maybe, but no. I mean, it's not like I was unrealistic. It was, look at what we have on
Yeah,
paper.
there's talent in the room. There's talent in the building. Like, there really is. The only thing I could compare it to is '96. That's the closest thing to me, because '96, the Jets spent a boatload of money and expectations were relatively high,
Yeah,
but not even close to this. Not
yeah,
even close.
yeah. Um,
The Pennington years when he broke his wrist, 2003, not even close again. I mean, they were great the year before. The last division win, you in against Green Bay, and then Indy in the playoffs.
yeah,
Um, Again, nothing rivals it. Honestly, it's
yeah.
it's it's rough.
So this is the longest podcast we've ever had. So, and
History,
people start
man.
commenting, so they like it. But yeah, disappointing. Not sure what they're going to do. Are they going to blow it up? Not completely. We're going to look for a young guy. The biggest thing is who's the head coach. We know what we have hasn't worked. Um, maybe it's the combination of the head coach with the assistants, head coach with the
GM.
GM. It can't be a forced marriage. The GM should
Agreed.
pick,
Agreed.
the head coach should pick the staff. Let's start with that. The coaches that should stay there. I mean, Coach Ulbrich. I mean, he's a great defensive mind. Would it be tough to go back to being the D coordinator? I mean, that's what he's great at. You cannot factor in what the win loss record is when he's a coach. You cannot even consider that. He's such a small part of this losing. He's so much more, um, should be, remembered for the success of the defense than the wins and losses and stuff he can't control,
Mhm.
nor was he prepared for.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, leadership, accountability, and a dude that knows football inside and out. I mean,
Yeah,
I know most of these coaches in the NFL have forgotten more football than I'll never know for sure, but
yeah,
there's different levels even within the NFL. And the new guy's gonna have a scheme, but I don't want that guy to be married to the scheme in terms
yeah,
of personnel. And I want it to be flexible and rigid and understand the game and be accountable. So that's the main thing. And you just gotta hope they
yeah.
they they get it right.
You can't put a square peg into a round hole. Yeah,
Yes, and look
yeah,
at the Jets scheme. They get run on. They're light up front. They get bullied, and it's just a constant theme.
yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'm not stooping off. I'm not a guy who's gonna say get rid of everybody. No, we got.
No, and they got talent. Listen, I know it's gloomy, but this is very different than 2014, 2013, when the cupboard was really bare. In 2019, it was awful. Look at the roster in 2019. It was
Yeah,
sickening. So there's talent here. It's not as bad as, we're all feeling for sure.
yeah. We need a leader at the most important position in football. It hasn't worked out with Aaron. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan, but obviously, I'm a fan of leaders. I'm a fan of guys like Vinny and Chad and Boomer and Neil and Frank. All those guys. Those guys led. Boomer never blamed us. Frank Reich, Neil never blamed us, ever, ever. Even as a 21-year-old kid, and Boomer was like late 30s. Anything I ever did, he could get blindsided because if I missed something or the left tackle was young or this, and he never blamed anybody.
No, there's stories that have never, like, there was one like animated cartoon, you probably saw it, where Boomer
Yeah,
was describing your first play.
Yeah, I didn't go in motion because I was
Yeah,
looking at Marino on the sideline. And it's true.
yeah, yeah.
But it
And
was
he
funny.
didn't bring it up until like yesterday.
Yeah, it's listen, all I can say, and I say this to Jeff fans all the time, like, I understand. I promise you they're trying. For the most part, all I'm saying, it is tough right now. It's tough for the fans, but right now, like I said, when you're practicing this shit and you're getting in your car, it's dark out, and you're driving home. I don't care if it's 10 minutes or you're just sitting in the car and your mind's thinking like, what are we doing? What am I doing? What's my future like? You know what I mean? Am I going to be here? Well, who's the coach going to be? There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and as a player, it's tough right now. Like I said, that locker room is all they have, and I understand that. And hoping, they lead, and whether you want them to win or not, you should hope they win every week and not tank for a top 3 pick because there's no game changer in the draft. It's not. There's no game changer quarterback. It's not Shador. It's not, Cam Ward. It's none of those guys. It's not one of those guys. There's no like generational quarterback in the draft right now.
Don't look towards a savior.
No.
Like in terms of a player,
No.
it's got to come from above that.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right, Wayne, we'll end it there. Well said. Good job. And Jets fans, hang in there, okay?
All right.
Yeah.